Hey there! For those of you who don't know, I'm Sofia and this is Nick. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about my journey to purchasing my first home in Toronto, but talking a little bit more about the pre-journey instead of the actual journey itself.
As I'm sure you're all aware, there are many articles out there about how owning a home in Toronto is unattainable for first-time buyers. I just want to say that I disagree with these. I'm not saying that it's not easy, and there are definitely some challenges that come along with it, but I think that with the right mindset, with the right behaviors and the right expectations, it's definitely possible to own a home in the city. We're hoping that this video will help you see those possibilities and put together a plan that can make that happen for you.
We have another video coming out shortly with the home buying search itself, but I think it's important to give a little bit of context on how we were able to achieve that goal first.
Let's get right into it.
As mentioned in our last video, I'm a practicing interior designer in Toronto, Canada. I graduated with a Bachelor's of Interior Design from Humber College in 2017, and within 5 years of working in the industry, I was able to purchase my first home. Purchasing real estate was always a big goal of mine, and I never really doubted that I could do it. But a few things to note. After graduating, I was super fortunate and I didn't have any student loans. I was also able to live with my parents to save up. I did a bit of traveling after graduating as well, and I think when I got back from that, I was down to probably about under $3,000 in my bank account. As saving up was something that was always very important to me, I was always money conscious, but I never really felt like I was missing out on life. I found ways to be content with what I had while still having my end goal in mind. About 6 months after graduating, I got my first job in the industry. It was a contract position that paid $17.50 an hour, so it wasn't my ideal situation, but I got my foot in the door. A few months later, I reconnected with a company that I interviewed with previously, and they offered me a full-time permanent job. I was super fortunate to have a full-time permanent job in the industry, but during these 5 years, I only made around $50,000 a year, so nothing too crazy. In 2019, Nick wanted to start looking for a rental apartment for us. There was a few almost, but something just didn't feel quite right. Also in the midst of this, I changed jobs to a firm that I really wanted to work for, but it was a contract position. So I didn't feel super comfortable signing on to a rental contract while being in a contract position for work. Both for financial stability, and also I just didn't think it would look that good on a rental application.
For me, the priority was moving out of my parents' place. I was living in Hamilton for a couple of years prior, but in 2018, I moved back to Toronto so that my professional ambitions would align with our long-term vision together. Originally, I thought that Hamilton would be a much better place to invest in multi-residential real estate, but proximity to family in Toronto was a much higher priority for Sofia. In hindsight, we probably weren't ready for real estate investment at that time either, so it was definitely a case of wishful thinking on my part. I was geographically flexible as a realtor, so I bit the bullet, moved back to Toronto with my parents, and ended up picking up a second full-time job to accelerate getting out of debt and saving as much money as I could.
When 2021 came around, COVID started to kind of die down a little bit and the future was becoming more certain. Nick was beyond ready to move out at this point, and we went to see a few more apartments. But something again just didn't quite sit right with me. I always had this dream of purchasing a triplex or a duplex and living in one of the units and renting out the others. With that being said, we decided to make an appointment with our mortgage broker to see where we really stood on the scale and how many years off we were. Our suspicions were correct. We were quite a few years away from being able to achieve that goal. But it did give me the inspiration to kind of refine my search and really take a look at what I could afford. I included condos in my search and came to the realization that I actually could probably afford a condo. I crunched the numbers some more and I realized that not only A, I could afford a condo, but B, our mortgage payments would probably only be about $200 to $400 more a month, which is totally okay with us because the condo would be appreciating at this time as well. After crunching the numbers again, I went to my bank to get a mortgage pre-approval. Not only were my numbers right and I could get pre-approved, but I also could get pre-approved without having my parents to co-sign, which was originally kind of what I thought might have to happen.
In short, I want to point out 3 key actions that Sofia embodied during the first stage of this process. First, she had the right mindset. She was confident and stayed focused on her long-term goal despite any challenges that came up along the way. Secondly, her actions and behaviors reflected her commitment to success. She managed her money well and kept expenses as low as possible. I picked up a second full-time job to increase the income side of things, eliminate debt, and build up a savings. Lastly, we managed our expectations. Originally, we were wishing to purchase a triplex or multi-residential property, but realized it was outside of our reach and adjusted accordingly. Our next few videos will cover the purchase process with Sofia, viewing some condos, and actually submitting offers as well. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss our journey forward. See you next time!